I now welcome Dr. T. Vijay Kumar Garu, Director HLF, to give his note on the theme.
Good morning, everyone. It's indeed a welcome move by the VNR VJIET to think of not just organize, but even think of organizing a symposium like this, a colloquium like this. Especially because VNR VJIET happens to be a engineering and technology college, and we are all familiar with what role the social sciences and humanities play in a technology institution. And therefore, it's even more welcome that a well-known technology institution like VNR VJIET is organizing this particular symposium. I think it's very important now to realize, I think one of the things that the coronavirus has made us realize is the relationship, if I can say that, between different domains of knowledge. We all, I think for the last 20-25 years, almost everywhere in our country, and particularly in the two Telugu states, and by and large in the entire South India, our entire education system is a bit skewed because we are focusing largely on technology and to some extent on science, and for various reasons the study of social sciences and humanities has been neglected. And history shows us what social price that society has to pay when we ignore social sciences and humanities. The case of Japan, etc., are before us. This is not to say that science and technology is not important. Of course, it is important. And science and technology, scientists and technologists, if we just take the present crisis, the pandemic, as an example, we know that the immediate solution to the pandemic, scientists and the technology people. But at the same time, while the scientists and the technologists work in the labs, the social and in the humanities, scholars in the humanities, for them, the society is the lab, and that is where they work. And while the science and technology may be able to give us a solution to the present crisis, for an understanding of the crisis, we have to depend on social sciences and humanities. So there is, on the one hand, science may give us a solution, but for an understanding, we need the social sciences and humanities. One may think, I think, the sooner we synergize these two disciplines, or all disciplines for that matter, the better for us as a society. One may think that this is very simple, but it's not very simple to implement, very not easy to implement. I'll just give you one example and stop there. Recently, for example, the government of India started the process of consultations to formulate the Department of Science and Technology, DST. They initiated a consultation process to formulate the Science Technology Innovation Plan 2020, what is called STIP 2020, a science policy which was last formulated in 2013. So in 7 years, they are planning to revise this science and technology plan. They have formed 4 different verticals, and then they are working on it. Among, in one of the verticals, for example, so far, if I remember right, about 16 panels were formed, and several meetings have taken place. And these 16 panels consisted of people from scientists, well-known scientists, administrators, journalists, institutional heads, and so on and so forth. But one glaring omission is that there was not a single social scientist in any of these 16 panel meetings that has taken place. There was no sociologist, forget about a philosopher, or even a historian, for example. And this is to show that we consider science and technology, as if it exists in a vacuum. And science and technology is something that is very much related to everyone's life. Whether you are an ordinary citizen, or whether you are a philosopher, or everybody is impacted by science and technology. And to completely bypass and ignore, I think the impact of science on society is something that has led, I think, to where we are today. That we and this is it's not as if this does not happen. Just to take one example, for example, take the case of Germany, where the science policy is formulated after wide-ranging discussions, and everyone, including an ordinary citizen, participates actively in the formulation of a science policy. Because after all, whether we are direct participants or not, every one of us is impacted by science and technology. And therefore, I'll just end by saying, closer home, take the example of Kerala, which is considered to be a success story in dealing with the pandemic. And the success of science, for example, or medicine in Kerala is actually dependent on social participation and political decentralization. So science, I think, succeeds only when the society is ready for it. And so the sooner we take the social aspect of science and technology into consideration, it is for the success of science itself that an understanding of social sciences and humanities becomes very important. And therefore, I feel that a technology college like VNR VJIET taking this initiative augurs very well. And hopefully, for example, the new education policy that has just come out maybe gives us some hope that finally, at least, we have recognized the need to synergize the various disciplines of knowledge. I look forward to listening to different panelists. And once again, thank you very much for inviting me as an individual and our organization, the Hyderabad Literary Festival, to be a part of this symposium. Thank you very much.